With the macho team Blue Lock Japan and France finally at its end, the conversation regarding the philosophies of Jinpachi Ego and Vivien Yugo is in full swing. And in chapter 350 we have finally gotten what Jinpachi Ego regards as the definition of ego and the foundation of his philosophy. Despite this, I have still seen a lot of confusion when it comes to both Yugo and Ego's philosophies, and it seems people are misunderstanding what both are and how they apply to various characters within the series. So in this video, I'll be going over both of these philosophies, what they mean and how they are both related and yet also fundamentally opposed to one another. To start off this video, we must first go over the true definition of ego, as I feel many of us do not know what it actually means. In our day-to-day lives, we often refer to ego as a term to describe a person's pride or overwhelming sense of self-worth or self-esteem, and it is often used with a negative connotation in everyday life. This is not the definition of ego. What ego actually refers to is one's conscious sense of self. It is the part of your mind that identifies as you and interacts with the world. Your ego is who you choose to be in order to interact with the world. This definition is practically the exact same as what Jinpachi Ego tells us in chapter 350. Also, quick disclaimer, I am going to refer to the term and person ego a lot in this video, so when I'm talking about the person, I'm just going to say his full name or just Jinpachi like I've been doing so far, and when I just say ego, I'm talking about the concept. Okay, so now that we have that out of the way, let's go over exactly what Jinpachi Ego says in chapter 350. Jinpachi says that humans are social creatures that cannot survive without human connection. From the time we are born, we subconsciously seek out ways to be involved with the world. As people navigate reality and their ideals through trial and error, they establish their sense of self, what they celebrate or rage against, what they mourn, what they believe in. These choices in how they play their game of life and the evaluation standard they set for all these decisions is what is known as ego. To simplify what he said, Jinpachi is saying that through all your various experiences and interactions in life, you set a standard for yourself and what you want to be like. These standards and what drives you to work towards those standards is ego. Ego is not a set thing, it is different for everyone, it is individualistic. However, in order to be the best version of yourself, you must not waver and constantly work towards becoming that best version of yourself. In doing so, you will shatter all limitations placed upon you. You will grow, you will evolve. You will become the best in the world. This is what Jinpachi Ego believes and bets everything on, the capacity for evolution. Now on to Vivien Yugo's suitable destiny theory. Yugo's theory spits in the face of the evolution that Jinpachi Ego stakes his life on. In Yugo's mind, people should not strive to be more than what they are capable of. Everyone is suited to a specific task and what they are suited for is all they should work towards. This is perfectly exemplified in Yugo's example of the lion that is trying to fly. Yugo thinks this is foolish and a waste of effort. The lion should just live naturally and give up on its dream of flight. If you were to pose this exact same scenario of a lion trying to fly to Jinpachi Ego, however, he would not tell the lion to stop trying, but instead to do whatever it takes to achieve that dream, even if it dies trying. Now obviously this is not a perfect analogy, a lion is not going to suddenly sprout wings, but that's not the point. These two philosophies within the context of the series are meant to improve your playstyle on the field, which is dictated by your mindset and actions on the pitch. Based on what Hugo says, everyone should simply conform to what they're suited to, and by everyone doing so, it will create a cohesive machine. Hugo's gear-based aura is a reflection of this. Hugo's aura is capable of growing from more than cogs to encompassing the entire France team and turning them into a well-oiled machine. But through Hugo's aura, Kaneshiro has actually revealed several things to us. Yes, through Hugo's actions, the France team is working as one, and although this seems intimidating, this actually reveals two critical flaws in Hugo's theory. The first is that, like I've already hinted at several times, this approach completely cuts off the capacity for evolution. A machine is efficient, but it cannot evolve beyond its specs. It has a limit that it cannot overcome, and Yugo is the one setting that hard limit. The second flaw is that Yugo's theory is contradicted by his own teammates. Notice how in the panel where the France team is all a part of the giant robot, two key players are missing, Loki and Charles. This makes perfect sense since these two are unapologetically egoists. Yugo's philosophy preaches conformity. Do what is suited to you and only that, but this stunts growth. Both Loki and Charles contradict this way of thinking. Charles' entire thing is being contrarian. He will do whatever he wants in the moment, and that's often in opposition to what others want. In the PXG game, he had several opportunities to work with others. That would be suitable, but he didn't. And the reason for that was simple. He didn't want to. This is fundamentally opposed to Yugo's theory. Yugo preaches that one should forego personal feelings in their play and do only what is best. This is why he is drawn with lifeless eyes and his aura is robotic, emotionless, preaching efficiency. Something Charles is the exact opposite of. Charles literally speaks in emojis half the time. You can't be more anti-Yugo than that. Loki as well is an example of following his own ego regardless of suitability. If Loki only followed what was suitable, he wouldn't have been in the NEL. But instead he was, and what was the reason? To nurture Charles into a passer that would make him the best in the world. This is purely Loki's ego talking. He will do whatever it takes to gain something, to make him better. Loki didn't even play at all until the very end of the NEL, as he was focused solely on creating a tool to make him better. If he was focused on his suitability, he would have acted similarly to Chris Prince and Vivien, who joined games just because they wanted to show off and score. But he doesn't. And even when he joins at last, he doesn't go for a goal himself. He plays support. He plays as number 2. This segues us nicely into Yugo's concept of number 1 and number 2. In Yugo's mind, the number 1 is the individual suited for the spotlight who doesn't give it a second thought and simply continues to impose themselves on the world, whereas the number 2 has a bird's eye view to control the organization from the second highest spot. If any of this sounds eerily familiar to you, it should, because this is just Isagi's breakdown of self-style and world style. A theory Isagi discovered was incomplete, and through completing it during the PXG game, he rose to the top of the Blue Lock program. Yugo, however, never discovered this and ended up building a large part of his philosophy around it, all due to him missing a critical piece of information: evolution. Evolution is the reason that Jinpachi Ego's philosophy trumps Yugo's. Following the path of an egoist will force you to confront yourself, discover who you are and what you want, and cause you to work to achieve your goal. The Blue Lock project is designed to foster this. It starts with a pitch and a question. Therefore, nobody without some source of ambition enters the project. From then on, the participants are constantly faced with stress-inducing scenarios that threaten elimination. Through throwing them into these scenarios and feeding them pieces to the puzzle regarding what ego is, it causes them to fully immerse themselves in their drive and become their ideal. This is why identifying weapons was important, why all these talks of goal formulas and flow triggers persisted, and why all of those talks encouraged the individuality of the Blue Lockers. Like Bachira said when he locked off Nagi, you've got to do it alone here, even if it kills you. If you can't, then you're a failure of an egoist. This screams individuality, and individuality is the key to evolution. By striving for what they want and not what the world wants for them, they will do whatever it takes to make that come true. They will evolve to stand at the top of the world, no matter who gets in the way. This is why all ego is born from people understanding themselves, and why the greatest egos are born from players who prioritize their own desires above all else, which players like Isagi exemplify. During the halftime talk of the France game, Jinpachi explained why this philosophy is needed. In a place like France, there are various talents produced which makes it possible to simply pick and choose the best of the large bunch. But this is not possible for everyone, especially not a weak nation in terms of football like Japan. Playing towards suitability is what Japan was trying, and it failed miserably. The U20 players were pathetic, and Aiku and Sendo show why suitable destiny theory will not work. They played at their best when they stopped trying to simply be the defender and the star player striker, and instead started playing to satisfy what their ego was telling them. Yugo's theory is born from incomplete information, and his place of birth, France, likely plays a big role in why he came to the conclusion that he did. Yugo was born and raised in an environment with so much diversity and talent that in his mind he thinks when people chase dreams not using what they are innately born with, they are wasting those talents. He thinks it's impossible to achieve something that's not within the confines of what you were born with. But as I've already shown, this theory is riddled with flaws, as every great player we've seen in the series actually falls under Jinpachi's theory. The Master Strikers in the NEL show us this. Both Loki and Noel Noah only care for what they want and will do whatever is necessary to facilitate that. Loki wants to be the best and will do whatever is necessary to achieve that. Noah is the best but does not care. He seeks a challenge and is looking to create a rival to push himself to even greater heights. Chris Prince's entire philosophy is that he wants everyone to find their ideal style and create a body and play style that will help them achieve that. Lavinho straight up tells his players he's not going to teach them and that they should ignore what everyone tells them and follow their own inner visualizations. This embodies the ways of the egoist. Now Snuffy is actually the most interesting case. Snuffy going into the NEL is actually the embodiment of what Yugo strives for. Snuffy is purely rational and takes everything a player can do into account and creates the most optimal plan for them with that in mind. These are what are known as Snuffy's designs. Now there is a slight difference between Snuffy and Yugo, which is that Snuffy isn't opposed to egotistical plays, they just aren't in his designs. But regardless of that, the entire point of Snuffy's character arc in the NEL was to show that his philosophy was wrong, and Barrow proved that. The reason Barrow and Snuffy butt heads is because Barrow hated the mindset Snuffy was operating with. The other Blue Lockers were willing to see it through since they viewed Snuffy and the NEL as stepping stones to their success, especially Nico, but Barrow refused to serve under someone with such a spineless philosophy. The entire point of the Ubers match is Barrow teaching Snuffy that ego is the true way of life. In Snuffy's flashback, we learn he was once an egotistical dreamer, but somewhere along the way he lost that sense of self, which is why he fell out with his best friend. Barrow helped him regain that sense of self, and that's why after experiencing the full brunt of Barrow's ego, Snuffy is reborn and proclaims undoubtedly that he is the best in the world. The NEL was a showcase that was meant to highlight to all of us that Jinpachi Ego's philosophy is correct, and it is the exact same philosophy that resides in all of those who dare to call themselves the world's best. To sum up what has been said, Jinpachi Ego preaches individuality and personal drive and ideals over all else, whereas Yugo preaches conformity to that which already exists. One philosophy facilitates evolution in pursuit of dreams, the other ignores that prospect and strives for efficiency to achieve an end goal. I believe that Ego's philosophy is correct, and that Yugo's, despite showing merit, has clear flaws. In my opinion, Yugo's theory is incomplete, and if he were to gain more experience, I believe that he would come to the same conclusion, especially since the entirety of the NEL was dedicated to disproving Yugo's theory. What you are suited for is only one piece of the puzzle, not the entire foundation which Yugo treats it as. If you made it this far into the video, I just want to say thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day or night whenever you're watching this, and I hope to see you all next time.